everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my channel. This week I am continuing on with the Kirsten birthday dress project. You can see her just out of frame here. And this week I am going to be making this pinafore right here. I am also going to make her flower crown. So the flower crown should be pretty simple. I'm gonna leave that to last, but the pinafore I'm actually hoping will also be simple. However, I have gone through my pattern stash and I don't have a pattern for anything remotely close to this. So basically, I mean, the skirt is just a gathered rectangle, but this pinafore top, I'm gonna have to figure out how that works. The back are just straight straps, so again, easy. But this will be some figuring out, but I'm hoping that I can knock this out honestly pretty quickly so that I can show you the whole thing with the wig and the flower crown and all before this weekend, as in this video. So that is my goal. I'm gonna get to work on the pinafore, but before I do that, I have a bunch of show and tell that I really want to show you because I just have gotten like some good mail and good recommendations of things that I want to pass on to you and some good finds from antique stores, all of that sort of stuff. And I know that you love that and I love sharing that with you. So here we are. So the very first thing, and I am incredibly excited about this, is that I got a recommendation from History Holly on Instagram. Thank you, Holly, for the Regency Marketplace, which I will link that down below. It's an online store that has a lot of stuff that's like very Regency focused. And her recommendation specifically was for their opera length gloves. And oh my gosh, they arrived today. I can't even begin to tell you how thrilling this is. So these are the gloves. Well, this is one glove. So you can see they're quite long and they're also really fine. I was worried they were going to be very costume quality, you know, like that shiny synthetic that you see so much of like costume gloves. But this, I don't know if this is going to show, but you see how fine it is? It's just like fine and stretchy, kind of like a really, really nice lightweight t-shirt almost. And I put it on. And you're not gonna believe this. Look at this. Okay, watch this. I'm so excited. Watch this. I'd help it if I, you know, had it on not upside down. Okay, there we go. Okay, hand is on. Oh my gosh, do you see that? Do you see that? It's not tight at all on my arm. It is going all the way up to here. Like it's gonna meet the bottom of a Regency sleeve, like an evening puffed ball gown sleeve. I'm just like I'm gonna have to order more of these. I am just thrilled at this. Like, oh, look at this. And I have long arms, you guys. Okay, so this, my arm, this is like 22 inches, I think. Something like that, just about 22 inches. And just to kind of give you an idea here at the top, my arm is about 14¼ inches around right here and then 22 inches long. And this is fine. Like you could probably have a bigger arm and maybe even a longer arm. I doubt that you have longer arms than me, but you know, if you do, I'll bet this would fit you too. I'm thrilled. Like seriously, I don't remember exactly how much this was, but it wasn't that cost prohibitive. And again, I will link that down below. I also decided to try from them the stockings. Now Holly hadn't tried these, so this was just kind of guessing, but they were so cute that I just couldn't pass it up. I have been wanting stockings like this, and I know that American Duchess has the silk ones. I don't even know if they still have the pink in stock, but I have the red ones from American Duchess, but they're, I don't know, I worry about wearing silk. I don't know about you, I just worry. So these are cotton, and these, so my leg at the largest point of the calf, it's 19 inches around, and it's also just about 19 inches from the bottom of my knee to the ground, with like my heel. And this just barely fits my leg. So if you're larger than 19 inches, I don't think this is going to fit you, but it does come all the way up to underneath the knee. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere either because it is so snug on my calf. And I'm very excited to have these clocked looking, probably, cotton stockings in pink. And again, they weren't that cost prohibitive. Like they were a little bit more expensive than what I would get from like Sock Dreams, which is usually my go-to, but obviously these are a lot more historical looking. So definitely check out Regency Marketplace. You have to get yourself these gloves. I'm gonna go and order more gloves too because I need a backup pair. Like what if I spill something on my glove? I need a backup pair because I've never seen anything like this before Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Holly, for the recommendation. Now, speaking of recommendations, I am sure that you have seen this book all over the interwebs, but Page Street Publishing, which is the publisher of this book, was kind enough to send me a copy of Bernadette Banner's hand sewing book, which is called Make, Sew, and Mend, and the information in here, it's fantastic. Like, you know, if you've seen my videos, you know I don't like hand sewing, and I feel like maybe with this book I can become a slightly more confident hand sewer, or at least like not hate it as much. I don't know, but I do definitely recommend this. I will link where to get the book down below. I know it's available on Amazon, for example, and I think you can get this pretty much anywhere where books are sold. In fact, if I remember correctly, I think she actually made it onto the bestseller list for like crafting books. So congratulations, Bernadette, and definitely check out this book if you have not yet. And thanks again to Page Street Publishing for sending me this copy. Speaking of sending me things, I just want to say a humongous thank you to, I think it's Roxy RJ Poe, for sending me to my P.O. box these amazing paper dolls. I think this is so cool. They drew these, so this is on like a cardstock, and then there's all these outfits. I'm holding them up, no, I guess they're every which way. I'm not holding them upside down, but there's all these outfits. They're so cute. I just adore them. I mean, the art is wonderful, and thank you so much for thinking of me. I also apologize because this is probably coming out very belatedly. I didn't get a notification that these were waiting there for me until I went to go pick up the book. So I'm really glad I picked up the book because I found these amazing paper dolls there too. So I believe it's Roxy. I can't read cursive to save my life. I know it's RJ Poe. Thank you so, so much for sending these to me. By the way, if any of you ever want to send me anything, I do have a P.O. box, so that is always down in the description of every single video. If you ever want to send anything, whether that's like a card or amazing art, please feel free, you know? I love getting mail. Don't we all love getting mail? And it warmed my heart to see that they're waiting for me, so thank you so much again. And lastly, I just want to share 3 things with you that I got from my local antique mall the other day. I had an absolutely wonderful day hanging out with Noelle from Costuming Drama. We didn't film anything, so sorry, there is no footage. It was just us hanging out as friends because I haven't seen Noelle since literally the week that everything shut down for the pandemic. She was up here hanging out with me I think it was like March 14th of 2020, and actually Noelle was the last person that I had hugged before everything shut down. So Noelle was back up here and we got to hang out a little, go to brunch, and then go do some shopping and some exploring. And at the antique store, I found this really lovely fashion plate. I particularly honestly love the frame shape. Like, this is gonna make a really, really nice addition to the wall that you see me talk in front of a whole lot in my videos, which is the wall in my office. And I also found these shoe clips. Now, they're tied together and I probably should have untied them, but that's the shoe clips. So they look kind of like 18th century buckles, but if you look on the back, it is actually a clip. So that clips up and then clips onto the shoe. And so they're just like engraved metal, but they're so pretty. I'm really excited to incorporate these. My guess is that these are probably 19-teens or 1920s because shoe clips were very popular in that era. And speaking of other vintage things, the last thing that I got at the antique store were these pair of amazing green gloves. I just love the scallop detail on here. So pretty. And there's like a little bit of ruching on the side there too. I just love them, and I don't know what I'm gonna wear them with, but they were like $9 and I could not pass them up because they actually fit my giant hands. So yeah, just, they're so cute, so vintagey. I'm gonna have to find something to wear them with. So anyway, that is it for show and tell. Let's go on to figuring out this pinafore. So the first thing that I've done with this pinafore, I'm looking at the skirt first, because again, this part's going to be a little bit more difficult, but I measured all the way around the skirt from center back to center back of the pinafore, and I also measured all the way around the skirt of the dress. They're the same. So that means that the skirt of the pinafore is going to be made up of 3 panels because the skirt of my dress is made up of 3 panels. Now the big difference here is that, first off, it doesn't actually join in the back, but also you can see it slopes up in the back. So from about here, I think, is where the length ends, and then it just continues up further. So like there's a lot more width there that is just the slope. So I will have to figure out exactly how much that's going to be in my panels, but that shouldn't be too bad. So I'm going to make 3 panels that are all shorter than the dress because we do get that bit there. I think on me, that's probably going to be about 6 to 8 inches that will hang down below, but honestly, I'll probably do some math and figure out the scale of, okay, so if my dress is so long from waist to hem, and her dress is so long from waist to hem, and her pinafore is so long from waist to hem, then how long will my pinafore be? So I will be scaling that up because the length scale should work pretty well. And then once I do that, and once I figure out the slope, I'll probably do the slope last, to be honest. Actually, I probably will go ahead and gather it all to the waistband before I do the slope. So this does have kind of its own waistband here, and then the top part of the pinafore gets tucked in behind the waistband and is sewn in place, likewise the straps on the back. So yeah, that shouldn't be too bad to just do the waistband and the 3-panel skirt, and then once I've put it on the waistband and figure that part out, then I will cut away the edge and do the hem. I think that should probably work fine, hopefully. I'll probably have to hem a little bit up here just so that I can get it into the waistband, but beyond that it should work fine. My waistband's not going to Velcro with a fake button. Mine's going to have an actual button, or maybe a fake button and a hook and eye closure, I don't know, but I'm hoping for an actual button. And then I will be using the eyelet trim to go around, but obviously I'm gonna have to hem that first. So yeah, let's go ahead and put those panels together and put our pinafore together. So I realized as I was cutting everything out for the skirt portion of the pinafore that I put pockets in the dress. The pinafore completely covers the pockets of the dress. So therefore, I need to put pockets in the pinafore. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to put them in the side seams, just regular inseam pockets like I put in any skirt, including that one. And I have everything cut out now, so I'm going to serge them and assemble the pockets the usual way and put that all together. And then it will really just be gathered up and put into the waistband. The waistband, by the way, the scale on everything. So the panels of the pinafore are 30 inches long. That does include a 1/2 inch seam allowance at the top and a 1 inch hem at the bottom, which of course will wind up curving up the sides as well. And then the waistband is 5 inches because I did the scale and hers would be a 2-inch waistband. So folded over, it would be then 5 inches total. So let's go ahead, and again, I'm just going to put this all together the usual way, and I will show you how I decide things, like when we get to the curve of the back, for example. So I haven't done the waistband yet, but it is on the form. It's all gathered up at the top, and this is allowing me to see where that curve needs to be. So to mimic Kirsten's, I think it's gonna really start like all the way up to here and then really come out like pretty, I don't know, dramatically, I guess, all the way to like here, maybe even actually probably a little over, probably more like to here, just because Kirsten's really does cut that far. So I think, yeah, I think probably to about here will be good, and then to taper that all the way up. I'm gonna draw it on with a pink line first with my friction pen and then see if that looks right. If so, I will just copy it onto this side and cut that line and hem everything. So I don't know how well you can see that pink line, but yeah, I think that is the winner. So it'll cut to where I was looking at before, and it's a little bit lower than at first I thought. I like drew it in and then had to lower it, but I think that is the right slope right there. Well, I've run out of time to do the waistband for today, but this is what the rest of it looks like. I have the eyelet trim all applied there. It does need to be pressed for sure, but there's the skirt portion. The waistband is on the skirt portion now, and the skirt is now complete, other than the fact that I haven't done the button right here yet. And that is because I didn't have any large buttons in white, so I'm actually painting a button. So it's drying currently, it'll get sewn on, but this tab closure is hook and bar closure, and I think it's doing quite well. And then it opens up the back like that. So now that the skirt portion of the pinafore is done, it is time to do the top portion. And I realized I don't think it's actually going to be that difficult because it honestly kind of follows almost like a princess seam type setup. So I think that if I just kind of go a little bit wider than where these princess seams are, especially because this one does go quite narrow, if I go like a little bit wider, like maybe to here, and then follow that up, and it would just follow up all the way to above the top of the arm, so kind of crossing my princess seam. I think that that should be the right shape. Now, of course, because I didn't cut this bodice as a princess seamed bodice, that means that I don't just have like a pattern piece for that, unfortunately, but I can just do some measurements and figure that out, and I think it will be fine. And then it'll have a seam up here at the shoulder, the apex of the shoulder, and then the back is really just straps that they do narrow a little bit as they go from the shoulder to down here at the waist, but it's not that big of a difference. So yeah, and I think the neckline, her neckline, I feel like you just see a little bit of her blouse. And now her bodice does come a little bit taller than mine, a little bit higher, but I think to just see that little bit of neckline here, that would be pretty perfect. So wish me luck. I'm going to cut out a mock-up and we'll see if it can actually be the final as well. So I decided that the best way to see if this was going to work was just to like put it on. And by that I mean put on the whole outfit with the pinafore and everything. And granted, I have not folded down any of like the seam allowances or hems or anything like that, but I don't think this is gonna work. For one thing, this isn't making it to the apex of my shoulder. So I have it right now only overlapping by a little bit down here at the waist. And yeah, it's just, somehow I measured that too short. I don't know how I wound up doing that, but I did. So I think I can kind of try it on to the best of my ability and then like just extend it in the actual, but I think I will go ahead and take the time. It's way too wide at the bust. I can tell that even by folding in the hems, this is going to be too wide, but I think I'm just going to kind of press it in or draw it in to where I think it will fit so that I can then use this as like the first version to make the second version. It's also much too high just here in the center. Like it starts to curve and then it goes back up. So somehow I cut that wrong. But yeah, we got some kinks to work out here. Okay, so I've done some marking and folding and stuff on this side in particular, and I had pinned it to the waist down here and then just kind of folded up. I think I need to probably take in a little bit more here at the apex of the bust just because it's being pointy because it's going out too far this way, but I don't want to cut that off yet. And then as you can see, like down here, it starts with being, I think, just about the right amount of like hem. I made a 3/4 inch hem on all places, even though I realized I'm probably gonna have to bind the neckline of this because it's so curved. I probably won't be able to like fold it over, but I allowed a 3/4 inch hem anyway. Not that it really worked out that way, because although I think I did have about a 3/4 inch hem here, I wind up going to almost no hem at all by the time it gets over here. And I was really, really wide on the shoulder over here, but not wide enough this way. There is literally no hem this way. This pink line is like where the finished line needs to be. And then obviously I'm way far from the shoulder seam. So I'm adding 1 3/4, I think is what I wrote here, and 1 1/8 here on this side underneath the fold. So yeah, I have a lot of changes to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut version number 2, which hopefully will be able to be the final version. So I'm still not quite sure about this part right here at the bust point, but I think the rest of this is much better now. I did actually fold down all of the hem areas on the sides as well as the neckline. And for the neckline, what I did, I still did a double fold, but I clipped the curve of the first fold. So you really don't see it unless you like fold it up. but do you see how that's clipped and then you fold it again and it really hides it all? And it does appear to be laying flat, so I think that I will be fine stitching that on the machine, which is great. I won't have to do like binding or anything, and it can have the same sort of hem as everything else. So at first when I cut this, I actually did have the bottom even wider, but I realized it was just too wide. So for now I've just folded in that extra, it's about like 3/8 inch extra that I took off of each side, and I think that that's much better, but I wonder if maybe, I don't know how to make it so that it doesn't like stick out weirdly, because if I go any narrower, then I feel like I'm gonna lose the princess seam sort of effect, and I don't know that I want to go that much narrower on the bottom, or else I feel like it might look weird. I don't know. Maybe I will try just a little bit narrower. I like the shoulder width. I think that's working fine. But yeah, maybe I'll try a little bit narrower from here and then tapering out to like about here and see if that fixes this bust point area. Okay, I think I've got it. So I had at first tapered it from about here in more like another 3/8 by the time it reached the bottom, but I was too much at the bottom. So then I just untapered it. I took it back out from about here down to the bottom, so just that very little bit. So basically I wound up taking it over the bust, but not the bottom, and I think that that is a pretty nice curve. I mean, it's way less curvy than Kirsten's, but she has really large shoulders, so you can get that like really exaggerated curve. I have pretty narrow shoulders, so I just can't really get that without it going like off the shoulder, which is not what hers does. It's still on the shoulder. So I think that this will work. I think the bust is looking better, and hopefully you'll like it. I do still have to obviously add that eyelet trim on it as well, and you know, sew it into place. But I do that all at once, like I showed you in the last video with the sleeves. I just do one stitch for all of that. So yeah, I think that is the winner. I now have to do the straps in the back, but that should be pretty easy because again, they're just going to taper in a little bit from the width up here down to the back. So I just need to get the length right. And that's it. And then I will serge the tops here and the hem because they will be exposed within the seams, but the sides I don't need to serge because, as you know, I'm folding it twice. So yeah, I will be able to do that. However, we have an early-ish show tonight for ragtime, so unfortunately I've run out of sewing time for today. So this is going to get finished tomorrow, which means I guess I'm not doing the photo shoot tomorrow, which means I do the photo shoot when it's 89 degrees outside this weekend. Oh my god, I am not ready for this heat. Time to move the air conditioner back in here as well. We poor Pacific Northwesterners have had really a lovely cool last few months, and it's jumping from about 70 to 90. Wish me luck. So I figured that I would do one more try on with everything with this all now attached to the back straps. So that's what I'm doing. I just have like holding in place right now, and I will do another try on when I actually like have this done. But right now it is still just pinned along the edges and I don't have the eyelet trim on it yet. I'm also a little bit worried now that I'm looking at it right now that like with the eyelet trim up in the neckline, it's gonna cover up the little bit of pink. I already feel like it's almost not enough pink. Like I want that, but I am a little worried now that like it's gonna stick out further. Ah, oh, dang it. Should I have done all of this hemmed more? Now I'm second guessing everything. Maybe I'll hold up some eyelet trim and just see how it looks. I think it'll be okay. I held up some of the eyelet trim here and also over here, and I don't feel like it's sticking out super far. I mean, I don't know, it probably could have benefited from a little bit deeper of a hem, but I don't want to hem things again. So, and even though I haven't sewn it, I don't know, it's just like a lot, and I'd have to cut this down and all that. I don't know. Probably should be narrower, but it's only a little bit of eyelet. It's only that much eyelet. I'm going to think on this for a second. I've decided to leave it as is and it should be just fine, so I'm going to go put on this eyelet and then I can see about attaching the bib of the apron and the straps to the apron skirt. So I have it pinned into place currently with the waistband, and I was actually surprised because I wound up needing it a lot shorter than I thought. So it is going the full length of the waistband, and then the bottom edge of both the front and the back is even with like the seam here at the bottom of the waistband, which is great because that means that I can really easily incorporate that bottom part in on the machine and then maybe just do a little bit of hand stitching on the top. So, ow, I just totally caught my finger. So that it doesn't show from the outside of the waistband. And now I'm gonna wait and see if this bleeds because white cotton. Yeah. So the one thing is that I feel like the straps in the back are not close enough to the center. Like they seem like they're just sticking off too far out here. And I mean, Kirsten's kind of do too, but it just doesn't seem as practical. It's not bleeding yet, I'm surprised. It just doesn't seem as practical to have them that far out. And the other thing is if I move them any closer together, then I will block the return hook because my waistband, this is how I always do waistbands, but I put like 2 or 3 if it's very wide hooks right here on the outer side, and then there's always one hook here with a hook and bar here on the inside, so it like latches itself like that. It's how I learned to do it in theater, and I've just always done it that way. And so that return bar right here, if I move the strap any farther over, that return bar would have to get reset on top of the strap, so it'd kind of be annoying. But I mean, hers are very far out as well. So maybe I should just stick with that, because if I get it too close together, like mine are already a much smaller gap together than she has here, and hers are quite far out. So yeah, maybe that is what I should do. I'll just stick with it where it is. So I'm gonna sew those in place using machine stitching along the bottom of the band on both front and back, and then some hand stitching on the top, and then that'll be done, because I don't know if you noticed, but I also already added that button. So then we can move on to the flower crown. The pinafore is done. That's what it looks like in the back. And of course, the pockets. I'm very pleased with how it came out. I think that the top is a really good shape, and I really love how full the skirt is because it is the same fullness as the actual skirt of the dress too. And I just think that this is looking so, so cute. Very, very excited to move on to the flower crown now. And I do want to say one of the things that I have been listening to while working on this and a lot of other projects is that actually 4 of the American Girl books, it is, I think, Felicity, Molly, Kirsten, I think Samantha's on there. It might just be 3, but I know those other 3 American Girl characters, the Pauline Haas Public Library went and like recorded all of them. One of the librarians there recorded just reading through all of the books on YouTube. So I will put a link to one of those playlists down below, but currently I'm listening to the Felicity books. I've been trying to reread all of the American Girl books that I read, like the old ones, and then I've also been reading all of the newer American Girl books that have come out since I stopped reading them in elementary school. So at this point, I'm now kind of working chronologically. I read all of the ones that are like through the 19-aughts, as in Samantha. I need to reread the Rebecca books because I read those a handful of years ago, but not when I was a kid. And then I'm also now up through Molly and Nenea, and I'm going to read Mary Ellen next, and there's Melody and Ivy, and I guess Courtney, but the 80s seems so recently that I like don't even know if I'm interested in theirs. Oh wait, it's not Ivy. Ivy is Julie's friend. Julie and Ivy. I need to read those books. So I'm almost read all of them, and I still have one more Felicity book to go as well. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how this is looking. So let's move on to the flower crown now. So first off, I have to determine how big I want the flower crown. And granted, I will probably be wearing a wig with this sometimes, but it seems like her flower crown sits pretty low on her head, like kind of to where this is right now. This is one of those flexible rulers. I really love these things, and they have a wire in them, so you can like set them to, you know, whatever like curve you need, which is really handy. So I just kind of wrapped this around my head and saw where it was. It looks like with this lower feeling here that it's sitting at, yeah, I think that's good, maybe a little extra. Yeah, so it is 24.5 inches with that low feeling. Hopefully the wig won't add too much because it's not a very bulky wig, so I think that that'll be okay. I don't want to go like too far and then have it fall over my face, so I'd rather err on the small side. So I will need 24.5 inches plus like a little bit of overlap. I'm using this pretty hefty wire. I'm a little worried that this is too hefty, but this is what I have. It's what I made the Mickey ears out of last year. If you haven't seen the light up floral Mickey ear video, I will link that down below. But I'm just gonna cut, like probably have a 1.5 inch overlap. I think will be easiest to kind of wrap in place. And so, yeah, I guess that'd be what, 26 inches total length that I need. I'll double check that before I cut it, but I am gonna use that as my base. And then I have a whole bunch of daisies. Unfortunately, Joann's only had 2 strands that were like just daisies, but they had a bunch of these that had strawberries on them too, and just less daisies. So if I need to, I don't know how many I'll need, but if I need to use some of those, then I can. I got 4 of the strawberry kind because that was all they had, and then I have 2 of this regular kind. And then I also have floral tape, which was very wonderfully given to me by one of my friends because Joann's and the dollar store were both completely out of floral tape. I don't know if there's a run on floral tape right now, but yeah. And then I'll also be using some of the leaves from the flowers as well, because her crown really does have a lot of leaves in it. It's like not super heavy with daisies. It's a lot of leaves. So I'm probably just gonna kind of, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna kind of like wrap everything with the floral tape to get it to adhere to this. And maybe I can wrap the ends even with the floral tape. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll wrap the ends with duct tape and then go over it with floral tape. That seems probably like a better idea. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So hopefully this angle works okay for you guys. Because I really don't know what I'm doing, I basically have cut the flowers off of the overall stem for both of the first 2, and I've also wrapped the ends here with duct tape. I know this isn't totally round. It felt fine on my head. And again, my head's not totally round either, so I don't know. We'll see. I can flex that probably even after the flowers are on. But yeah, it's definitely a weird shape. Anyway, what I'm planning on doing is literally just like kind of putting these on like with the stems and everything, and then just wrapping the tape around all of this so that the tape will just like twist the stems and incorporate them in, but some things will wind up sticking out a bit, like probably something like that would. I don't know. I just feel like it needs a little bit more space than being completely adhered to the wire. So yeah, I'm just gonna probably put you on a speed through and see how this goes. So there's the first ones wrapped. I think that that's pretty decent, and now I'm just going to do the same thing for a whole bunch of others, but I think I'll do that off camera because you'd probably get bored of me doing that repeatedly. So after I did the first few on here from like this side over here, I realized that if I was just going to keep putting them there, I was going to run out of flowers. So I stopped and I started just taping on like in an arrangement or an approximation of an arrangement. I just started taping on like a little piece of tape over each flower. So all of these still need to be like fully wrapped, but they are on there in a way that I could then see what I was doing. This is the center back. From here, there's going to be a little ribbon dangling down, but I think that arrangement is looking really nice. So now I can go ahead and finish doing the complete taping of everything. And this is what it looks like when it's all finished and wrapped, and I've attached a very long ribbon to it as well. So now we're all ready for the photo shoot. It's time to go take some pictures of me and Kirsten. I actually decided to do the hair down because I realized that both on her book cover for this book and also on like the art for the doll, she has her hair down. So I went with my hair down too, which is good because then I don't have to worry about my hair like showing through the wig in the back, which was what I was worried about. And I am so super excited. I did change her shoes to the brown boots. Sometimes she is shown as the doll with the brown boots, sometimes with the two-tone boots. I don't own the two-tone boots. And then on the book, she's shown with red boots, but I don't own red boots for me. So brown boots it was, because I have this. So let's go find a cute spot to take pictures. Thank you all so much for joining me this week. I am so absolutely thrilled with how this project has come out. I cannot wait to wear this to Comic-Con. I really hope that people know who I am. I mean, I'm gonna have Kirsten with me as well, but I am just freaking in love with this. Like, this is like the outfit of cottagecore dreams. I feel like it's so absolutely cottagecore, and I love the little blonde wig and everything too, and the flower crown, and yeah, I'm just so pleased with how this came out. I think that it is pretty perfect, and I cannot wait to do another American Girl doll outfit. Also, I know I did tell you in the last video that I will be doing Samantha's midi dress at some point this summer. Definitely will, because I'm really looking forward to it. But next week is a whole different and scary project, so do make sure that you come back for that one, because it's gonna be science and costuming all together. That's your hint. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I post videos here on YouTube every Tuesday, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Sharon and Mirage. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!